Is our justice system really fair? And what role do universities play in it? Let's dive deep into a landmark case that raises these questions. The justice system is supposed to be the pillar of fairness, the place where wrongs are righted. But what happens when it's not? Universities, on the other hand, are institutions of higher learning, shaping the minds of tomorrow. But what if they too falter? Enter the case of Khan versus Yale, a case that forces us to confront these unsettling questions. This case is not just about one man, it's about a systemic issue that demands our attention. Saifullah Khan, a Yale student, was accused of rape, but the court found him not guilty. Here's how it all unfolded. In the world of academia, Yale University was shaken to its core when one of its students, Saifullah Khan, was accused of a heinous crime: rape. As the news spread like wildfire, it was not just Khan's future that hung in the balance, but also Yale's reputation. Khan's trial was a high-stakes affair, with the world watching. The courtroom was a battleground, where every word and gesture could tip the scales of justice. The prosecution presented their case, painting a disturbing picture of the alleged incident. On the other hand, Khan's defense team tirelessly worked to dismantle the accusations, questioning the evidence and highlighting inconsistencies in the accuser's story. As the trial progressed, it became clear that the case was not as straightforward as it appeared. The defense presented compelling counter-arguments and evidence that cast doubt on the prosecution's narrative. To the surprise of many, the court found Khan not guilty. The verdict sent shockwaves through the community, sparking debates about justice, truth, and the role of universities in such cases. Despite the court's verdict, Yale decided to conduct their own trial. But was it fair? Yale conducted its own trial, but it was anything but professional. This statement is not one to be taken lightly. In the case of Khan, Yale University took it upon themselves to conduct their own investigation, a move that reeked of unprofessionalism and bias. Despite the courts previously finding Khan not guilty of rape, Yale decided to proceed with their own trial. Not only was this decision questionable, but the conduct of the trial itself was deeply flawed. Khan's lawyers were not allowed to question the plaintiff, a vital part of any fair trial. This prohibition curtailed the opportunity for Khan's defense to fully present their case and challenge the allegations made against him. But the unprofessional conduct didn't stop there. Khan himself was not allowed in the trial room. This exclusion is a stark violation of the fundamental principle that every accused person has the right to be present during their trial, to hear the evidence against them, and to respond accordingly. This trial, conducted by one of the world's leading educational institutions, was a mockery of justice. It was a trial where the scales were tipped against Khan from the outset, a trial that deprived him of his basic rights. Unsurprisingly, Yale's verdict differed from the court's, but this didn't sit well with Khan. The decision to pursue his own legal action against Yale and his accuser was a direct response to this gross miscarriage of justice. Yale's unprofessional trial was not just an affront to Khan, but to the principles of fair justice that we all hold dear. Khan decided to fight back. He sued Yale and his false accuser for a whopping $100 million. Now this isn't just about the money, it's about justice and setting a precedent. Khan's move to counter-sue is a bold and necessary step. It's a clear message to Yale and institutions everywhere that biased trials and unprofessional conduct won't be tolerated. It's a demand for fair treatment and proper legal procedures, something that should be a given right, not a privilege. Let's talk about what this means. If Khan wins, it could set a precedent that would force universities to rethink their approach to such cases. It could mean that institutions would have to ensure they conduct trials fairly and professionally, or risk facing hefty lawsuits themselves. It could give the falsely accused a legal avenue to fight back and clear their names. Yet, while this is a significant step, it's important to remember that it's just one part of a much larger issue. Not everyone who is falsely accused can afford to countersue for defamation. It's a costly process that requires resources that many simply don't have. But Khan's case shines a ray of hope on this gloomy landscape. It forces us to confront the bias in our systems and the need for reform. It's a reminder that every individual deserves a fair trial, and that institutions can and should be held accountable for their actions. This case is a glimmer of hope for all the men who have been falsely accused, but it's not a full solution. It's a step in the right direction, a spark that could ignite a much-needed change. And it's a story that needs to be told, so that others may find the courage to fight for justice too. This case is a major embarrassment for Yale, but it could also serve as a wake-up call for other universities. The repercussions of this lawsuit ripple far beyond the Ivy League halls of Yale. Universities across the nation are now under scrutiny. The question of how they handle serious accusations like rape is under the microscope. It's a clear message that biased trials won't be tolerated. The Khan case highlights the necessity for universities to uphold the principles of a fair judicial process. This includes allowing the accused to be present during trials and allowing their legal representatives to question the plaintiff. These are not mere quibbles over procedure, but fundamental aspects of justice. This case also underscores the fact that institutions of higher learning are not above the law. They can't hide behind their prestige or the ivy on their walls. If they fail in their duty to provide a fair and unbiased trial, they will be held accountable. While this case may seem like a victory for those who have been falsely accused, it's not a complete solution. Fighting back against false accusations often requires significant financial resources, something not everyone has. Therefore, it serves as a stark reminder of the ongoing struggle for justice. This lawsuit, however, does offer a glimmer of hope. It serves as a precedent, showing that universities can and will be held accountable for their actions. It's a step towards ensuring that no one else has to go through what Khan went through. In conclusion, the aftermath of Khan's lawsuit against Yale and his false accuser is a wake-up call. Universities across the country must take note. They need to ensure that their trials are fair, unbiased, and conducted with utmost professionalism. Universities must ensure that their trials are fair and unbiased. This case could be a turning point. As we wrap up, it's important to remember that this case isn't just about one individual. It's about justice, fairness, and the role universities play in it. We've journeyed through the case of Khan, a man wrongfully accused and later absolved by the courts. Yet, he faced an unprofessional trial by Yale, a trial that denied him basic rights and demonstrated a bias that should never exist in a justice system. We've seen how Khan took a stand, suing Yale and his false accuser for a staggering $100 million. This case is not just a fight back, but a loud and clear message to universities worldwide. It's a precedent, setting the tone for future cases, showing that biased trials will not be tolerated when it comes to serious accusations like rape. However, this victory is a glimmer of hope, but not a complete solution. It's a sobering reminder of the struggle many men face when falsely accused. Not everyone has the resources to countersue for defamation, an unfortunate reality that persists. This case has been an embarrassment for Yale, a prestigious institution now under scrutiny. It's a lesson for all other universities to uphold justice and fairness, to conduct unbiased trials, regardless of the accusations at hand. Ultimately, this case has shed light on an important issue, that justice must be served impartially and everyone deserves a fair trial. It's a call to action, a plea for change in how universities handle such cases. If you found this video informative, smash that like button, subscribe with bell notifications, and share this video. Together we can raise awareness about this important issue.